We usually think of death as this single moment, right? Like a light switch just gets flipped off. But what if it's more like a city-wide power outage, where different systems shut down one by one, creating their own kind of chaos? Today, we're going to get into the fascinating and honestly pretty misunderstood biology of what actually happens to our bodies right after we die.
So, let's start with the big one, the myth that just won't die. You've heard it, I've heard it, we've all probably pictured it at some point, this kind of creepy idea that some part of us keeps on growing. But is there any truth to it?
Okay, so the short answer? Absolutely not. It's a total myth. But the reality behind that illusion is actually way more interesting, and it tells us a ton about the process we're about to unpack.
To really get why this myth has so much staying power, we have to kind of redefine what death even is from a biological point of view. It's not an ending. It's the beginning of a whole new and very different process.
Here's the key. Stop thinking of your body as one single thing. It's more like a bustling, complex ecosystem with trillions of cells. What we call death is simply the moment that ecosystem loses its central government, its main regulator. And the second that happens, everything starts following its own rules.
All right, let's zoom in on those first few hours. This is where a massive chemical chain reaction kicks off, and it sets the stage for everything that's about to follow.
The moment the heart stops, that's the first domino. The oxygen supply line is cut. Now, the brain is incredibly greedy for oxygen, so it's the first to go. We're talking irreversible damage within just a few minutes. But other parts of you are a lot tougher. Skin, bone, and muscle cells, they haven't gotten the memo yet. They're still hanging on. But the fundamental order that kept everything working together is already starting to fall apart.
So this is where the body literally becomes a clock, telling the story of its last moments. It's why forensic investigators look for 3 key signs. First up is algor mortis. The body starts cooling to match the room's temperature, which gives a hint about time of death. Then there's livor mortis. Since the heart isn't pumping, gravity just pulls the blood down, which can show a position the body was in. And finally, the famous rigor mortis. The muscles start to stiffen up. Each one is like a chapter in the body's final story.
Let's talk about rigor mortis for a second, because it's pretty counterintuitive. It's not some final burst of life or energy. It's actually a sign of an energy crisis. See, your muscles need energy not just to contract, but also to relax, to let go. When the body's main energy molecule, ATP, runs out, the muscles get stuck. They're locked up tight because there's simply no juice left to unlock them.
So all this chemical shutdown creates phenomena that can be, well, deeply unsettling, because they really do look like signs of life. Let's tackle these illusions head on.
And this brings us right back to our opening question. It perfectly explains the myth. The hair and nails aren't growing at all. Growth is an active process. It needs cell division and energy, and both of those factories are closed. What's really happening is that the skin is losing moisture. It's dehydrating and shrinking, pulling back from the nail beds and hair follicles. This exposes more of the nail and hair that was already there, making them look longer. It's not growth, it's a retreat.
And it's not just the hair and nails. Other things can happen that seem lifelike. If someone moves the body, air can get pushed out of the lungs, and it might sound like a sigh or a moan. Muscles can twitch as the last little bits of chemical energy fizzle out. But these aren't signs of life trying to come back. They're just the purely mechanical noises of a complex machine slowly powering down for good.
Okay, so while all these changes are happening on the outside, an even bigger, more profound transformation is kicking off on the inside. It's a quiet but complete takeover.
This process has a name, autolysis, and it literally means self-digestion. Without oxygen, the little walls that keep powerful digestive enzymes locked safely inside our cells start to fail. Those enzymes leak out, and well, they do what they do best. They start breaking down the cells from the inside out. The body essentially begins to digest itself.
And right here is another massive turning point. The immune system clocks out. Your entire life, it's been the police force for the vast ecosystem of bacteria living inside you, especially in your gut. As soon as that police force is gone, the balance of power shifts dramatically.
All those trillions of bacteria living in your gut are now completely unchecked. The guards are gone, the gates are open. They break out of the digestive tract and start to feast on the surrounding tissues. And as they eat and multiply, they produce a ton of gas. That's what causes the body to bloat. This internal takeover quickly becomes the main engine of decomposition.
So when we put all these pieces together, what's the big takeaway here?
What are biology's final instructions, really?
The key thing to realize is that none of these processes, not the muscle twitches, the weird sounds, the apparent growth, none of it is life trying to hang on. It's the exact opposite. This is what happens when a complex biological machine is left running without its operator. It's biology without a purpose, without order, and without any central control.
Now, understanding all of this often brings up a very natural, very human question. With all these dramatic physical things happening, is there any feeling? Is there pain?
And the science here is absolutely clear, no. The experience of pain, any feeling at all really, requires a conscious, functioning brain and a nervous system to send the signals. Once brain activity stops in those first few minutes, the ability to perceive or feel anything is gone. The physical processes continue, but the experience itself has ended.
Which brings us back to the most important thing to remember from all of this. If you take away just one thing, let it be this. Death isn't a single event. It's a process. It's an unregulated biological sequence that kicks off the very moment that control is lost. Ultimately, what all these processes really show us is a pretty profound biological truth. They're a reminder that the body is this incredible structure that we just happen to inhabit for a while. And when we're no longer there to run the show, it simply follows its own final set of biological rules, not to continue life, but to recycle it.